Hey guys, what is going on? So, as you all know, I am a PlayStation fan, and I think that most of us can agree that the PS4 was a pretty kick-ass console. Now sure, it wasn't as powerful as the Xbox One or the Xbox One X for that matter, but what separated itself from the Xbox was the most important thing a console can have: great games / exclusives. And even if you didn't own a PS4, I don't think that anybody can deny that the library of exclusives that Sony had to offer was nothing short of amazing. And since that the PS5 is just a couple of days from coming out, I decided to share with you all my top 10 favorite PS4 exclusives. Now keep in mind guys, these aren't the technically best games that the PS4 had to offer, but my personal favorite exclusives that the PS4 had to offer. Now, for this list guys, there is only one particular guideline. It either had to be a console exclusive or it couldn't have come out for any other system but the PS4. So yes guys, if it came out on PC, it technically does count, because as long as it didn't come out on the Xbox or the Switch, it is still a PS4 console exclusive. Also, these are not reviews of the games, but rather my quick thoughts as to why I put them in their consecutive spots. Now with that being said, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. Also keep in mind guys that I wasn't able to play every single exclusive since the console's launch. And also when it comes to my honorable mentions, the games I'm about to mention are either games I haven't quite beaten yet, or games that I have beaten and they didn't quite make my list. So my honorable mentions are Days Gone, Horizon Zero Dawn, Infamous Second Son, Until Dawn, and Ratchet & Clank. Now guys, with that being said, with my honorable mentions done, let's get into my top 10 favorite PS4 exclusives. PlayStation. Starting off with my top 10, at my number 10 spot is Detroit Become Human. Quantic Dream is one of my favorite developers, and I've been a big fan of David Cage ever since Indigo Prophecy. Every game he has done, minus Beyond Two Souls, I've either really liked or I have loved. Now, do not get me wrong guys, I didn't necessarily love Detroit, but Detroit is still a damn good game that is a standout amongst the PS4 exclusives. If you have played a Quantic Dream game, the choices that you make change the outcome of the story, and here in Detroit, it goes down to even the smallest of choices that you make. Combine that with an engrossing detective story with Connor, a really fun thriller story with Kara and this girl she has taken as her daughter, and a tale of freedom or rescuing other androids with Marcus. And to add on top of that, you have terrific visuals and engaging performances, even if the dialogue is a bit cheesy and cliche. I don't think it's better than Heavy Rain, which is probably my favorite game from Quantic Dream, or Indigo Prophecy, but nonetheless, Detroit is still a damn good game, especially if you're a Quantic Dream or a David Cage fan. Do not miss this one, and by the way, if you're a fan of Blade Runner-like stories, I would say pick this one up.
The Shinra Electric Power Company isn't the real enemy. I promise you, there's a much bigger threat. I just want to do everything in my power to help all of you and the planet.
Coming in at my number 9 spot is Final Fantasy VII Remake, a remake of a game that I honestly think is just as good as the original, which I find is slightly overrated. Now before you all come at me, I do think the original is a very good, if not a great game, but I don't think the original Final Fantasy VII is the best Final Fantasy. Anyways, getting back on track though, Final Fantasy VII Remake does the near impossible. It remakes what was already a classic game, and it not only improves upon many things, but it brings it to a modern audience. The graphics are amazing for the most part, terrific voice acting, a compelling story, The combat does a great job of combining classic JRPG elements with action RPG elements, and the music still gives me goosebumps as the original did. I do think, however, that the game was elongated a bit much, and some of the side quests felt a bit unnecessary, but nonetheless, guys, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a damn excellent game. And by the way, given how it ends, especially for those who have played the final part, which was absolutely insane, I am very curious to see how they continue this new series of games. If you love the original, I definitely recommend picking this one up. Even if you aren't a Final Fantasy VII fan, I would still give this a shot if I were you guys.
Living is no different from being dead if you're all alone. I'm on the beach, Sam. Our beach. The one where I was born. Come and find me.
At my number 8 spot is one of the most polarizing games out there. You either really like this game, or you hate this game. For me, however, I really liked Death Stranding. Now, is this game essentially the most advanced UPS simulator out there, or the most advanced walking simulator out there? Absolutely yes. And that right there is the part of the game you'll either think is monotonous as all hell, or you'll find it somewhat relaxing and feel like you're doing good reconnecting people in a broken world. The gameplay, though, wasn't the selling factor for me when it came to Death Stranding, though like I mentioned, I did find it rewarding for the most part. To me, the selling part of this game was the story. Now, to be fair, it does take some time to get going, but once it does, oh boy, you're in for a mindfuck of not only a game, but an ending as well. Death Stranding is probably the most unique game I have played, maybe if ever, if I'm being honest. And while this game is definitely not for everybody, especially when it comes to that slow build-up, but for me, the slow build-up leading to that ending made everything worth it. I cannot wait to see what you do next, Hideo Kojima.
I am samurai, but I will sacrifice everything for my home.
Oh boy. You know, guys, a close friend of mine will not be happy that this isn't in my top 3. But Mr. Garrison, I am so sorry. Ghost of Tsushima is my number 7. I hope you still love me, Gare Bear. Ghost of Tsushima is probably the best open world game that has ever been created. Now, yes, there will probably be other games that might top it, but man, they're going to have to do a lot to top this game, especially when it comes to the visual aesthetics, because to this day, Ghost of Tsushima is probably, no, it actually is, without a doubt, the most beautiful looking game that I have ever laid eyes on. This is a game that every 5 minutes, you want to stop what you're doing, go into photo mode, just to capture an eye-gasmic image, like a shot that, let's say, what Roger Deakins would probably capture. There's also an epic story, fun combat that's also very addicting, should I say, and a score that encompasses many moods. And if that wasn't enough, you'll be constantly distracted with things to do other than the main story, but in the bestest ways. By the way, knowing that there's a free update coming around very soon that includes online multiplayer, cannot wait to see this. While I did have my issues, it does not change that what Sucker Punch created is nothing short of excellent. If you guys are fans of Sucker Punch's games, highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of samurai games like myself. I think that a lot of people will be very surprised that I put this in my number 6 spot, but yes, Spider-Man is my number 6. I really thought hard, and I mean I really thought hard about having this at my number 5. But even though this isn't in my top 5, this is still one of the best, if not arguably the best licensed game since Batman Arkham City. Before this game had come out, the best Spider-Man game, if you ask me, was Spider-Man 2, released back in 2004. So for me personally, I have been waiting for 14 years for the next great Spider-Man game, and man, Insomniac delivered and then some. Now sure, in terms of open world games, Spider-Man doesn't really do anything new to innovate the genre, but honestly, I didn't really need it to do anything new, because it makes up for that in every single department to the T. Not to mention that this game is just so damn fun and addicting. I love the story of this game, I love the voice acting, the game's graphics still look great to this day, the amount of unlockables, the amount of side activities you can do, and knowing now that the Miles Morales game is right around the corner, I cannot wait to see what Insomniac has in store. You have a PS4 and if you haven't played this game, what the hell are you doing? Get it and play it now, please.
Go home, live your life, or we can just end it right here.
There's gotta be another way. I need you on this one.
At my number 5 spot is the conclusion to Nathan Drake's story, and that is Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. This was a game, honest to God guys, I didn't think I needed it, but man, I am so glad I got this game. As Uncharted 3 I thought was a great ending alone, but what Naughty Dog was able to accomplish here is nothing short of spectacular. And even though that Amy Hennig wasn't involved, as you all know, the creator of Uncharted, Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley are able to not only make an emotionally investing finale for the story of Nathan Drake, but they also stay true to the swashbuckling adventure that Uncharted is known for. Incredible set pieces, one in particular that still blows me away, a great musical score by Henry Jackman, terrific voice acting, and an ending that every time I see it, tears, man. Now, do not get me wrong, I still think that Uncharted 2 is the best Uncharted game, but nonetheless, Uncharted 4 is a terrific 4th game while also being a phenomenal finale for one of the best characters in the history of video games. Seriously guys, Uncharted 4 just blew me away in every single way possible. Even though Amy Hennig wasn't involved, well done Naughty Dog for giving Nathan Drake an amazing send-off with this one. A lot of you are probably saying that this is cheating since this is a re-release of a game, but Shadow of the Colossus on the PS4 is not just a simple remaster like it was on the PS3. Bluepoint Games faithfully remade this game from the ground up, and man, they couldn't have done a better job remaking what is, in my opinion, a piece of art. I originally had this game on the PS2, but I never got around to beating it. Now that I have it and finally beat it on the PS4, in this case the PS4 Pro, I am shocked that it took me this long to fully experience this beautiful game. This is one of the few games that if people don't consider video games art, I gladly will show them Shadow of the Colossus. This game is the perfect example, or a perfect example I should say, of a simple concept done with beautiful execution. The issues that I have with this game are very minor, but what we still have here is a damn near perfect remake of what was already a classic. If you weren't able to play this on the PS2 or the PS3, guys, please go out and buy this game now, because seriously, this is a game that is well worth your money and your time, even if it is a tad bit on the shorter side. That is if you know what you're doing with each Colossus. And knowing how much of an excellent job that Blue Point Games did remaking this game, I cannot wait to see what they do with the Demon's Souls remake. Seriously guys, do yourself a favor and buy this game. And speaking of a Souls game, at my number 3 spot is my favorite of the Souls/Born games, Bloodborne. If you guys have played any of the From Software games, you will know that these games are known for their difficulty, with Sekiro Shadows Die Twice easily being the most difficult. If you ask me, Bloodborne is the most accessible of them all. Do not get me wrong, is it still a very hard game? Yes, but out of all the Soulsborne games, Bloodborne is easily the best of them all. I might be a bit biased towards this one since it is more of a horror-centric game with Lovecraftian visuals. However, out of all the games in this universe, Bloodborne is the one that not only I've just replayed the most, but I just love this one to death. This was actually a game that I almost missed out on until my buddy Shane, DragonXLS, to which thank you Shane so much, until he recommended me to buy it, and I am so glad he told me to. From the exhilarating combat, the haunting visuals, and one of the best scores I have ever heard in a video game. Seriously guys, listen to the track when you fight Father Gascon, it'll get your blood pumping. Now, I understand if you're hesitant on trying any of these games, but I would say give Bloodborne a shot. And if you can persevere through the difficulty, you'll have a hell of a time on this hunt. Also, plus if you're just looking for a really challenging game with amazing reward, buy Bloodborne. Please guys, it's amazing.
I can hold on!
I know the truth isn't simple, but nothing is when it involves your child.
We must be better. You must never forget that.
Yes guys, God of War 2018 is my number 2. Now this was my number 1 for a very long time, of course, until my number 1 came out. Even if this isn't my personal favorite PS4 exclusive, there is no denying that this game is an epic masterpiece, at least in my eyes, in every sense of the word. This is a game that somehow radically changed God of War really in the best ways possible, but still keeps what matters about God of War at heart. Going from Kratos as a rage-fueled god killer to a matured family man that has the chance of a new life before he must go out with his son on another adventure, there are still some moments within this game that not only make me emotional, but I still get giddy. Cory Barlog, who had directed God of War 2, came back to make this game, and man, if somebody else had made this game, I really don't think it could have been as phenomenal as it was. God of War 2018 not only works as a soft reboot of the franchise, but as a terrific 4th game and what could be possibly a trilogy? I mean, who knows? All I know though is this: if God of War Ragnarok is as great as God of War 2018 was, I can't even fathom what they could maybe do for a 3rd game. But all I'm asking is this: Cory, please direct God of War Ragnarok. Other than that, guys, if you have a PS4, if you haven't played this game yet, where have you been for the past 2 years? If you love God of War, buy this game. It is absolutely amazing in every sense of the word.
We could have killed you. Maybe you should have.
Now, you all could have probably guessed this the moment that I said God of War 2018 was my number 2. But yes, The Last of Us Part 2 is my favorite PS4 exclusive. And I realize that this being my number 1 is a highly controversial choice, as this game is polarizing to say the least when it comes to story. But in my personal opinion, The Last of Us Part 2 is the kind of game that I never thought I would get these days. In terms of the story, I have never experienced a story that has hit me as hard as The Last of Us Part 2. I haven't experienced gameplay this thrilling and suspenseful. I haven't heard voice acting this good in ages, nor have I seen character arcs that have been this compelling in a long time. Sound design this raw, along with a phenomenal score, art direction, and graphics that look so cinematic, it feels like you're playing the most interactive movie possible. And I can imagine that you guys are probably groaning and are so livid that I would even consider this game being good. But truth be told, guys, in my humble opinion, The Last of Us Part 2 is an epic, emotional, suspenseful, heartbreaking, beautiful, and a sweeping masterpiece in every sense of the word. The first time I played this game, guys, I smiled, I laughed, and I cried. The second time I played it, all of that happened even more so. I originally did not want a Last of Us Part 2, as the original game is a perfect game in its own right. But The Last of Us Part 2 hit me on every correct level. I'm gonna say a statement, and this might get me some hate. The Last of Us Part 2 to me is a new Dark Knight for video games, as this is a game that takes what the original did so well and it escalates it times 11. I love this game so damn much, and even though I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate on this, I am prepared to defend this game until my dying breath. I could gush about this game for hours, but simply put, The Last of Us Part 2 is without a doubt my favorite PS4 exclusive, and man, did the PS4 go out with a bang. To Naughty Dog, to everybody that worked on this game, from Neil Druckmann, to the game directors, to Hallie Gross, Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey, to everybody that worked on it. Thank you, guys. Not only my favorite PS4 exclusive, but one of my favorite games of all time. Alrighty guys, and that is going to do it for my top 10 best PS4 exclusives, at least in my humble opinion. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, even though I know that a lot of you are probably pissed out there knowing that The Last of Us Part 2 is my number 1, but what can I say, guys? Comment down, let me know below, what are your guys' top 10 favorite PS4 exclusives? Do you guys have certain games in a different order? Do you guys probably hate that a certain game is my number 1? Let me know below. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I'm also on Snapchat and Stardust, so if you guys want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all the links in the usernames are in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed my top 10 PS4 exclusives. If so, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for whenever the latest video of mine goes live. If you guys want to see any of my previous 2 videos, please click either to the left or right side of the screen. And of course, until the next video or review, I will see you guys next time. See you on the other side with the PS5, guys.
プレイステーション